Are you having hard time to choose the right player for your team? Do you want what is best for your team? Well, if you do, this video will help you to make the right decision. Hey, what's up guys, this is Kama back with another FIFA mobile video, and today we're going through all the important points that you need to consider before buying any player in FIFA mobile. So let's get started. So how do we choose the best player for our team? Well, the answer is simple, yet most people fail to understand that. It's not about who is the best, it's about who fits best in your team and who fits best for your play style, which is something that you need to figure out yourself. Once you do that, the process of buying good players for your team will become much easier. Before buying players for your team, you obviously consider your budget first of all, and then you look at the stats and OVR as well. There are actually lots of other important things that you need to consider before buying any player. Things like skill moves, stamina, weak foot, work rates, height, and traits as well. Now, I'm not trying to invent the wheel here. Some of you might already know this, but there is a good portion of people out there who lack this information. This is for the homies who keep asking me on my live stream whether they should go with Vinny or Mbappe, Jude Bellingham or Fofana, Zidane or Griezmann, Mane or Gakpo, Duan or Bruno, Militao or Bremer, Hakimi or Cafu, and Martinez or Courtois. Now, these important things that I mentioned play a vital role in game. You obviously want to have all of these in a player that you are looking to buy, but you won't always get them in a single player. You need to prioritize what you need rather than what you want, what's best for your team, and maybe win some games along the way. So in this video, I will try to help you with what you should prioritize before buying any player. If it does help you, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new around here. Starting with attackers, here are some important aspects and attributes that you want to have in almost every attacker. I'm talking about the absolute must-have things that you cannot compromise with. Number one is your finishing. You need an attacker with good finishing, for which you need good finishing stats, especially the shot power. Number two are skill moves. At least 4-star skill move is a must because you need that for one of the OP skill moves in the game, which is lane change. Don't spam it, by the way, be a good lad. Number three is weak foot. You want your attacker to finish with his weak foot just as he does with his strong foot. And the only way you can achieve that is if your attacker has 5-star weak foot. And in my opinion, it is a must because you never know from which angle and with which foot you will be taking the shot. So having 5-star weak foot increases the chance of you scoring drastically. But having 4-star weak foot is not bad either. Anything lower than that is not good enough. Number four is stamina. You want your attacker to have at least 8 bars or more stamina because you will be doing some dribbles with them. Spamming lane change is not dribbling, by the way. I just wanted to put it out there. You will also be making some sprint runs, taking shots and whatnot with your attacker. So you want an attacker with at least which will at least last you until 60th to 70th minute. So you should prioritize these 4 things before you look to add any attacker to your team. The rest of the stats, attributes, work rates, skill boosts, etc. are important as well, but the 4 things that I mentioned are must for any attacker. Next up, we have the midfielders, which are basically the engine of your team, and everything that you do on the field of play, it goes through them. They are your creators. We basically have 4 types of midfield players in game. Number 1 being good old attacking midfielders, players like Zidane and KDB. Then we have master of foiling defensive midfielders, players like Vieira and Amrabat. After that, we have my favorite category of midfielders, which is box to box. They can basically do both jobs in midfield, whether it's breaking the play or making the play. Players like Hullet and Jude Bellingham are good at it. And lastly, we have wild midfield players, right mid and left mid, which are basically similar to cams. Attacking midfielders, because most of the times you will be attacking with them, so whatever I say about the cams applies to them as well. Now, for an attacking midfielder, you obviously want to look for good attacking attributes, and for a good defensive midfielder, you want to look for good defensive attributes, which I am sure you are already aware of. And for a box-to-box midfielder, you want both attacking and defensive attributes. But there are some common things among all 3 types of midfield players that you once again cannot afford to miss, and once again you need to prioritize. So the first thing that's important for a midfielder is his work rates. You need to have a midfielder with perfect work rates. Now we have three types of work rates in game: low, medium and high, and depending on what kind of work rates a player has, it will determine his intensity in the field of play. Like for example, for a cam you need to have high attacking work rates, and what that translates to is he will put more effort in game for his attacking plays. His positioning will be better in opponent's half, and he will also make more attacking runs and end up scoring more goals for you. And same goes for the defensive midfielder, aka CDM. They need to have high defensive work rates because most of the times you want them to stay back and make interceptions to break the play and simply body slam the people along the way. For a box-to-box center mid, ideally you want to have high work rates because you want them to be involved in both attacking and defensive plays. But having medium work rate or high medium or even medium high work rate for a box-to-box center mid is not bad. You don't want any low work rates on a center mid. The second most important thing for a midfield player is his stamina. As I said earlier, stamina is almost important for every card in the game. Having 8 bars of stamina is must for any type of center mid, but you can always make a sub and keep the intensity going in the field by bringing in some fresh pair of legs. Number 3 are skill moves. Just like attackers, you need to have at least 4-star skill moves, except maybe for CDMs. But for cams and center mids, it is important because 5 out of 10 times you will be attacking with your midfield players, and to do that you need access to some OP skill moves which are lane change and maybe sometimes roulette. And the fourth thing that you want to have in a center mid is good weak foot. Again, just like skill moves, weak foot is important to attacking midfield players because you will get chances to finish with your central attacking midfielders or even left mids, right mids. You want to have the advantage of 5-star weak foot. One more thing that I want to add on here about the wide midfield players, apart from having good work rates, stamina, skill moves and weak foot and all that jazz, you want your left mid to be right footed and your right mid to be left footed, because most of the times with your left mid, for example this Mane here, you will be attacking or shooting with his right foot because you will be attacking from the left flank, and same goes with the right mids. Next up, we have our defense, we have our center backs, and we have our fullbacks. Defending in this game is not always consistent. You can concede even against average players or sometimes maybe against absolute noobs. So you do not want to leave any stone unturned when it comes to choosing a defender for your team. So the number one thing that is absolute must in a defender is they need to have good anti-stun. What that means, you want your defenders to have very good reaction and marking stats. Say for example, if a center back does not have good anti-stun, he will basically get stunned or he will just freeze momentarily when any attacker with very high dribbling and agility stats does the skill move in 1v1 situation. If you want to learn more about how anti-stun in FIFA Mobile works, I will leave a FHS video in description down below. You can check it out by yourself. Number 2 for any defender is the height, especially for the center backs. It's very obvious that you need tall center backs to hold up against strong attackers. The height definitely plays an important role in that, and having tall center backs are very helpful against cross spamming. Although it's never guaranteed that your defender will clear out the crosses, so ideally you want to have center back who's at least 6 foot or above. Number 3 are work rates and traits. Medium defensive work rates on center backs is not bad, but having high defensive work rates is the best, and having traits like power header is important too. The other traits are good and all, but you don't want to miss out on power header. And for the fullbacks, the most important thing would be pace and good defensive stats overall, but pace is what you should always prioritize. Additionally, you also want at least medium defensive work rates. Having high defensive work rates is very rare. We hardly get any fullbacks like that, but if you can find one with good overall stats, go for it. And lastly, we have our goalkeepers. The most important stats in all GKs are obviously their diving, reflexes, and positioning. Additionally, you also want them to be tall. Taller, the better. You also want to have most important thing in a goalkeeper for head-to-head, especially, which is having a long throw trait. It is super helpful and can lead to some very good counterattacks. And about the skill boost, I personally prefer reflexes because it boosts all the key stats of a goalkeeper, but you can go with GKs with other skill boosts as well. It does not make any huge difference. But having good stats does not always mean that a goalkeeper will be good in game, or any other card having good stats. It does not always mean that a card will perform good in game. I know it sounds silly, but that's how FIFA Mobile has been always. So should we not care about these stats and all the things that I said in this video? No, you absolutely should consider stats and everything that I just said in this video. But there are players that stand out in terms of their in-game performance, and most people end up using them. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called meta. If you want to grind and win as many games as possible, you have to follow meta. If you have made it this far without falling asleep, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys at 11 PM Indian Standard Time on my live stream. Until then, peace.